Okay, so imagine this scenario. It's one that's just all too common, really. You're in hospital, right? That sterile smell hits you, and a doctor delivers news. News about a loved one, someone you care about deeply, who suddenly can't speak for themselves anymore. And just like that, you're thrown into making these agonizing decisions. Do they want everything possible, every machine, every intervention? Or, would they actually prefer care focused on comfort, quality of life?
It's an incredibly difficult spot.
It really is. And our source material today talks about this directly. Someone reflecting on years of practice saying, this is the conversation most people just want to avoid. Standing by bedside, seeing families in crisis, forced to make these choices. And that uncertainty is born of love, sure, but also fear. It leads to this heartbreaking guesswork.
That guesswork is such a heavy burden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it often causes friction, arguments even in families that are really close. But here's the other side of it, the positive side. I've also seen that incredible, peace that comes when there's a plan.
Ah, yes. Preparation makes a huge difference.
It really does. The quiet confidence of someone, an advocate, holding a document, saying, no, I know exactly what she wanted. We need to focus on comfort now. That clarity, that's what we're digging into today. It might feel, unsettling to think about a time you can't speak for yourself. Maybe even feels like giving up control.
Yeah, I can see why people might feel that way initially.
But our mission here for this deep dive is to show you it's actually the total opposite. This is about taking control.
Precisely.
So today, we're diving deep into advanced care planning. We're going to unpack the key legal documents, look at a really simple process, step by step, that turns what feels like this huge, daunting task into, well, honestly, one of the most powerful and loving things you can do for yourself and for the people you care about.
And you've really nailed the core of it there. To frame it, it's more than just paperwork, isn't it? It's really an act of profound generosity.
Generosity, I like that.
Yeah, you're essentially gifting your family a roadmap, a clear guide for them to follow during a time that's already packed with emotional stress, uncertainty. Our sources consistently show how this lifts that crushing burden of having to guess. It lets them advocate for you with confidence and ultimately find a bit more peace in a tough situation.
That framing, profound generosity that really hits home. It makes me think of all those stories we read where families, even deep in grief, felt such relief because they didn't have that guesswork burden.
Exactly. It avoids so much potential conflict and second guessing later on.
It's like a gift that just keeps on giving, right? So, okay, let's guide you through the how and the why of getting ready for these big future decisions, making sure your voice is heard no matter what happens down the road. 1, understanding advanced care planning, the foundation.
Right. So for many of you listening, you might already know a bit about advanced care planning. It's not just, ticking boxes. It's a whole process. Thinking about your values, aligning them with future medical choices, making sure your voice is still there even if you can't speak.
So, at its heart,
it's simply a way of thinking about, talking about, and then, importantly, writing down your wishes for future medical care. It's all about being proactive, choosing ahead of time instead of reacting in a crisis.
And that proactive part, why is that so vital for all of us? Our sources keep drawing this really sharp contrast, the potential chaos, the fights that can break out when things aren't prepared, versus the calm and confidence when there is a plan.
Absolutely. It's a stark difference.
It really is the difference between a family potentially being torn apart by these impossible decisions and one that's united, carrying out what they know you wanted. This isn't just theory. It's about turning your personal thoughts into legal documents that actually, give them teeth, give them power.
Precisely. And to put that plan into action, we're going to focus today on 3 key legal documents. There's a healthcare proxy, the living will, and also the power of attorney for finances. Each one has a very distinct, very crucial role in making sure your decisions are honored and, your affairs are managed too. 2, your voice, the healthcare proxy.
Okay, so once we get the why behind planning, the very first, maybe the most crucial step is making sure your voice will be heard, even if you can't literally speak. And that's where the healthcare proxy comes in. It's huge.
It really is central. So a healthcare proxy, it's a legal document, and in it you name one person. And it's usually best to stick to one primary person who can make medical decisions for you.
Okay.
But here's the key. That power only kicks in if you become unable to make those decisions yourself. So this person becomes your official spokesperson, your advocate, your
Yeah.
voice, as you said, in the whole medical system.
Right.
Now, depending on where you live, you might hear other names for it, like medical power of attorney or maybe healthcare agent. Same idea.
Gotcha. Now, it seems so easy, right, to just default to, say, your spouse or maybe your oldest kid. It feels natural, out of love or maybe obligation. But the stuff we read suggests the best choice isn't always the most obvious one. What are some of those maybe less intuitive but really critical things that make someone a good proxy? Beyond just trusting them, I mean.
Yeah, this is probably the single most important decision in the whole process, actually. And it needs real thought. Trust is, of course, number one. You need someone you trust completely to honor your wishes. And this is critical even if your wishes conflict with what they personally believe or want.
Ooh, that's a big one.
It is. Their job is to be your voice, not theirs. Second, think about composure. How are they under pressure? We read about cases where really smart, loving people just got overwhelmed in a crisis, couldn't communicate clearly with doctors. You need someone who's pretty level-headed, who can stay calm, clear, focused when things get, chaotic in a hospital.
Makes sense.
Third, assertiveness. They can't be afraid to ask questions, to push for clear answers, like, hang on, can you explain that in simpler terms? Or, we need a minute to talk about this. They have to be your champion, basically,
Wow.
even with a busy medical team.
Stand up for you.
Exactly. Fourth, they really need to know you, your values, what makes life meaningful for you, maybe your spiritual beliefs, your priorities, independence versus intervention, that kind of thing. That deep understanding is their guide when things get complicated, things you didn't explicitly write down.
Okay.
And finally, and this one surprises people sometimes, location. Being nearby is helpful, sure, but it's actually less important than their ability to really advocate effectively.
Really? Less important.
Yeah. Think about it. A dedicated proxy who knows your wishes inside out, who's assertive on the phone, that's way better than someone who's physically there at the bedside but is maybe passive or unsure.
Wow. That's a powerful point. Challenges a big assumption. And it really hammers home what our sources said. Don't just default to the closest relative because you feel you should. Pick the person who's truly best suited for this really important job.
Absolutely crucial.
And always, always name an alternate,
Mm-hmm.
a backup, just in case your first choice, for whatever reason, can't do it when the time comes. That is another layer of security, right?
Definitely. Good safety net. 3, your instructions. The living will.
All right, so you've appointed your voice. Now let's talk about the living will. This is where you provide your instructions, laying out the guidelines for your care.
Exactly. So a living will, it's a written document, and in it you spell out the types of medical treatments you would want and also those you wouldn't want, and suit one specific end-of-life situations. It gives those crucial instructions that your healthcare proxy will then use.
Okay.
Think of it like painting the big picture. You're stating your core values, your preferences about medical interventions. It lets you define what quality of life really means to you.
A living will sounds pretty straightforward, but I get the sense its real power is in thinking through those really personal choices ahead of time. What kind of specific things do people usually cover in these? Maybe some surprising ones.
Well, it lets you be crystal clear on several really critical treatments, which can head off a lot of family debates later. So, for instance, CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Do you want them to try and restart your heart if it stops?
Right.
Mechanical ventilation, being put on a breathing machine if you can't breathe on your own. Tube feeding, which is also called artificial nutrition and hydration if you can't eat or drink normally. Dialysis, if your kidneys fail. And importantly, it lets you clearly state if you want palliative care or hospice care. Care that's really focused on comfort, managing pain and symptoms, maximizing your quality of life, if that's what aligns with your wishes.
That covers the big interventions.
It does. Now, it's really important to understand, though, that a living will, well, it can't predict every possible medical situation. It just can't.
Right, too many variables.
Exactly. That's why it works hand in hand with your healthcare proxy. The living will gives those guiding principles, your overall vision for your care. And then your proxy uses those principles to make decisions about specific things as they pop up. It's like a partnership, making sure your values guide things even when the unexpected happens.
That makes sense. The principles and the person to apply them.
Precisely. And just a quick side note, for folks dealing with advanced or serious illnesses right now, there's also something called a PLST, Physician Orders for Life-Sustaining Treatment.
PLST.
Yeah. It's different because it's an actual medical order signed by a doctor. It translates your wishes into actionable instructions for EMTs, emergency rooms. It's often more portable and immediately recognized in urgent situations. Something to potentially discuss with your doctor if it applies. 4. Protecting your affairs. Power of attorney for finances.
Okay, so we've covered the healthcare proxy and living will, handling your medical autonomy. But, life is complicated. It's not just about health decisions. What happens if you can't manage your bank account, pay the mortgage, file taxes? That's where this other document comes in, right? The power of attorney for finances covers a different but just as critical piece.
That's exactly right. This document lets you appoint someone to manage your financial stuff if you become unable to handle it yourself.
So practical things.
Very practical. Paying bills, managing investments, accessing bank accounts to cover costs, filing taxes, making sure the lights stay on. It's really about protecting your financial stability and just preventing chaos when you're already vulnerable.
Now, it seems logical, maybe simpler, to just have one trusted person handle everything health and finances. Why do the sources we looked at often strongly suggest keeping these roles separate, even if you really trust the same person for both?
That's a really key distinction, actually. Your healthcare proxy, they have power over decisions about your body, your medical care, your power of attorney for finances. Well, they have power over your money, your assets.
Well, different domain.
Totally different domains. No, you can name the same person for both roles, but it's often wise not to, unless that one person truly has both the emotional strength needed for tough medical advocacy and the specific skills for managing finances.
Right, different skill sets.
Very different skills, different temperaments sometimes. And think about the practical side. Without this financial POA document, your family could face huge legal roadblocks, bank accounts frozen, bills piling up, maybe even trouble accessing your own money needed for your care.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we saw examples where families had to go through expensive, time-consuming court proceedings just to pay a simple utility bill. Adds enormous stress when things are already incredibly difficult. 5. How to get started. The simple 4-step plan.
Okay, I know this might all sound like, well, a lot, a big undertaking.
Yeah.
But the good news is our source material consistently lays out a clear way forward. It breaks it down into a simple 4-step plan, really designed to take the mystery out of it and empower you.
It really does simplify it. The very first step, and honestly, it's the foundation for everything else, is step 1, reflexity.
Reflex.
Okay. And this means going beyond just thinking about what you don't want. We really encourage you to think about what you do want. Like, what does a good day actually look like for you?
Mm-hmm.
Is it being able to chat with family, enjoying a favorite meal, being free from pain, keeping some independence? Ask yourself those deep questions. What makes my life truly worth living? What are my biggest fears about getting sick or about the end of life? And maybe the toughest one? When you look ahead, what's more important, the sheer length of your life or the quality of that life?
Those are big questions.
They are. And crucially, there are no right or wrong answers here. It's a really personal journey of figuring out what matters most to you.
Okay, so reflect first. What's next?
Once you've done that deep thinking, step number 2 is to talk about your wishes.
The conversation.
Yes. And this is arguably the most important step and maybe the one people avoid the most. After you've carefully chosen your healthcare proxy, you need to sit down and have an open, honest talk with them. Not rushed.
How do you even start that conversation? It feels awkward.
It can be. Maybe find a quiet time and just start with something direct but gentle, like, hey, I need to talk about something serious, and I chose you because I trust you more than anyone to really honor my wishes. Then explain your decisions, why you picked them, share your living will if you've drafted it, talk through some what-if scenarios.
Okay.
This conversation, honestly, it's just as important as the paper document itself. It gives context, reassurance, and this is vital. Make sure your other close family members also understand your wishes.
Bring others into the loop, even if they aren't the proxy.
Yes. Our sources showed how even well-meaning relatives can accidentally cause conflict or confusion if they're totally in the dark. Even if they aren't the official decision maker, letting them know what you want can prevent future misunderstandings.
Good point. Okay, reflect, talk. What's step 3?
Step 3 is SIGN. Get the document signed. To be legally valid, these forms have to be signed according to your state's specific laws. Usually, that means signing in front of 2 witnesses or maybe a notary public.
Do you need a lawyer for this?
Not always. A lawyer can definitely be helpful, especially if you have complex financial situations or family dynamics. But for many people, it's not strictly necessary. Lots of states offer free, standardized forms right on their Department of Health website, or maybe the State Bar Association site. Plus, great nonprofit organizations like AARP or Five Wishes have excellent, really user-friendly resources and forms, often with state-specific instructions.
Okay, so resources are out there. Reflect, talk, sign.
Yeah.
What's the final step?
The final step, number 4, is share. Share the copies.
Right, because a secret document doesn't help anyone.
Exactly. Our sources are crystal clear on this. A perfectly written document that nobody knows about or can't find. It basically doesn't work when you need it most. So it's absolutely vital to give copies of the completed signed forms to your healthcare proxy and also to your alternate proxy.
Who else needs copies?
Your doctors. Make sure your primary care physician has a copy. Your oncologist. Any key specialist, they should scan it right into your permanent medical record. And if possible, maybe even the local hospital you're most likely to end up at. Having it on file there can save critical time.
That point about it not working if it's hidden is huge. I remember reading about that exact scenario. Documents locked in a safe deposit box, completely inaccessible during a crisis, made all the planning almost useless. So practically speaking, where should you keep your personal copy?
That's a perfect illustration of why sharing is key. For your own personal copy, keep it somewhere easy to find, immediately accessible, definitely not locked away in a safe deposit box nobody can get into quickly.
So
Maybe a go bag you'd take to the hospital, a clearly labeled folder in your bedside table drawer. Some people even use secure cloud storage that their proxy knows how to access. The main thing is visibility and ease of access in an emergency. 6, the evolving plan. And just one last really important point about all of this. Your wishes. They aren't carved in stone.
Ah, good point.
Yeah. As your health changes, maybe your values shift a bit over time or new medical treatments become available. Your wishes might change too. And that is completely okay. This isn't a one-time task you check off a list. Think of it as a living plan.
So you can update it.
Absolutely. You can, and you probably should, revisit these documents periodically.
Sure.
Update them to make sure they always accurately reflect what you want right now.
That flexibility is really reassuring, isn't it? Because life does change. So ultimately, this whole process we've walked through from that first deep reflection to actually talking about it and sharing the document, it's all about thoughtful, loving preparation, isn't it?
It truly is.
It's about making sure that your journey, whatever it looks like, is guided by your values.
Yeah.
That your voice is always, always heard. That gives you peace of mind now, and it gives your loved ones such invaluable clarity later.
Absolutely. When you boil it all down doing this planning, it's the ultimate act of self-advocacy. You're securing your own autonomy. And maybe even more profoundly, it's a final, really beautiful gift to the people who love you most.
A gift.
Yeah. You're freeing them from having to make those impossible choices under pressure, letting them focus on what truly matters in those moments, your comfort, your dignity, just being present with you.
So thinking about all this, what does it mean for you, listening right now? What's maybe one small step you could take this week? Could you start that reflection or maybe begin the conversation? Just one step towards ensuring your own peace of mind and giving your loved ones the clearest possible roadmap for some of life's most challenging moments.
Something to think about.